Hey guys, how you doing? Eric over at Diversified Outdoors here. Wanted to bring you another video. Like I said I was going to do, I want to get a few in before deer season starts, so this is going to be very short and sweet. This is going to be basically geared towards what do you bring with you when you're actually out hunting. And that pretty much consists of basically a backpack. So we're just going to kind of talk about that, but I need to preface it by having you understand that how you're going to hunt, where you're going to hunt, what you're hunting for, all that can dictate what you're going to bring with you. So for example, if you're hunting elk and you're going to go up into the mountains of Colorado and you're going to be gone for 5 days, you're not bringing a backpack like this. You're bringing a full framed backpack with a tent and with cooking utensils and food and dehydrated, so that's not what we're talking about. So for me, just so you're aware ahead of time, where I hunt is going to be on 40 acres of property that my family already owns in Missouri. It's kind of heavily wooded. It does back up to public land, hundreds of acres of public land. It's flanked on either side by private land. So we pretty much have 40 acres, and in the very back is public land. We primarily, though, stay on our 40 acres. So we're never really that far from our cabin. So that being said, that really changes how much stuff you need to bring. And so for the type of hunting we're doing, we're really just bringing stuff to keep us comfortable while we're out there. Because typically a day for us is going to look like getting up at like 4:30 in the morning, getting out of the cabin by about 5:30, heading to our stand, which is usually no more than a 20-minute walk max. And then you're going to hunt till about 11:30, 12 o'clock, come back to the cabin, meet, regroup, chat, have lunch, and then probably about 2 o'clock go back out till sundown. So really all you're ever looking at is being able to stay comfortable for 5-6 hours at a time. And so what you really need to bring is just the items you need to do that. Again, that's really important because I try to be a minimalist. I try to bring as little as I have to. I don't like to be weighed down. You're already dressed up to the hilt. You've already got all sorts of gear on, big jacket and bib and big boots, and you're carrying a rifle, and you now got a hump along this backpack. So to me, I want to bring as little as I have to, but I want to make sure I have what I need to have with me so that I'm comfortable and safe. So let's just kind of go through this pretty quickly, and I'm just, there's all sorts of pockets on this thing. This backpack, again, nothing special. I didn't want to spend $300 on a backpack that I know I'm just going to throw around, drag through brush, get snagged on branches. This thing is going to be abused. I didn't want to drop a big amount of money on something I know I'm just going to use a few times a year and it's going to get abused anyway. So this is just the Redhead brand you get from Cabela's or Bass Pro, and I think this was literally on sale for like $19.99 or $24.99. It was not that big of a purchase, but it's a nice backpack. It's got tons of pockets. It's got a thing to carry like a bedroll or maybe a tarp or whatever you might need on the bottom, or bundle up a jacket. It's got little side pouches. Even in the back, it's got padding. It's got the chest, strap and the waist strap, so you can carry it like a regular, hiking backpack. It's a decent, for the price. It was actually a great deal. So that's really all you need. You don't need to break the bank on this. You can really just get away with something simple like this. So on this pouch over here, one thing I think is very important to have, and a lot of people don't think about it. I've been shooting my whole life. Well, since I was like 7. One thing I've learned is that if you have firearms around, you can get hurt. There always is a chance for accidental discharge, or even being, unfortunately, there's occasion where you can get shot accidentally by another hunter. So I think it's very important to bring a tourniquet. So this is from, I think, North American Arms. I think I got it through Rescue Essentials website. But don't go to eBay. Don't go to like Amazon. There's a lot of fake tourniquets that aren't the real thing. You need one from North American Arms. I think this is the Cat 5 or 7. I can't remember. It's like their most popular one. This is going to be about $30. It's worth every penny. Get the real one. And I think it's a great idea to have a tourniquet with you, because if you do get, even by yourself, an accidental discharge, maybe you shoot yourself in the leg or in the arm, you at least can get a tourniquet, stop the bleeding until you can get back and get help. I'm really lucky. My cousin's a firefighter, paramedic, so even though I know he can help me out, I still need to be able to help myself out so I can get to him to have him help me out. So I think this is imperative. If you're gonna also, if you want, you can add an IFAK or your own personal build out of a more advanced first aid kit that has hyphen chest seals, and you can go. That'll be another video, but you can also add that to this as well. I didn't because we're so close to the cabin. I'm not too worried about things like that, but I think a tourniquet's very important. The other side over here is basically water. I would definitely bring several bottles of water, but you definitely want to stay hydrated while you're out there sitting. So water is very important. And now we're just going to dig in. I kind of just threw everything in here. Normally I would have it all put where I want to put it, but let's start with one of the most important items first, and that would be toilet paper. Let's just say when nature calls, sometimes the answer to that call is toilet paper. So bring toilet paper. You'll be happy you did. To go along with that water, snacks. So again, a lot of times we get up in the morning and we'll have a pretty decent breakfast, but then you're pretty much we have a big table where we all kind of pitch in food, and a lot of it's just snack items like this, so you can just grab a bunch of stuff, throw it in your pack, and you're out the door, and this is just enough to get you by through the day. Again, you've already had a breakfast, you're already going to go back for lunch, and then you're going to go back for dinner. So you don't need to bring any elaborate food, in my opinion. You just need snacks that just get you through the day, and things like this are perfect for that. Another thing that's important to me, and again, where we hunt, you need to wear blaze orange. So typically in the morning, I'm already going to have this knit cap on. But what I did find, and what drove me nuts last year, I'm telling you, man, it drove me crazy, is that after enough hours of you kind of, even though it's cold out, you're kind of sweating, this material, even though it seems so soft in the beginning, it ends up driving you nuts. And it ends up, I mean, I was all red on my forehead, and I was literally like rubbing my forehead because this was starting to itch me like crazy. So as soon as it got warm enough to take this off, I was so glad that I had brought just a regular baseball type hat, because again, it's a lot softer. This is really thin and light, so my head stopped kind of sweating. And another good thing is when I was able to put this on and up in a deer stand, I was able to use the visor to kind of clip the sun, so I could still scan out for any movement in the woods, but I was able to just clip the top of the sun away so that I could see better, and it wasn't blaring in my eyes, where this offers no protection like that as far as the visor goes. So this is ideal. I would always have a knit cap for warmth, and I'd always have a regular baseball style hat to switch out throughout the day. And again, I went back and forth. If my head got a little cooler again, I'd put this back on for a while. But it was nice to be able to have the option to switch these back and forth. So I think that was really important. And again, on the same lines, a pair of extra socks. Again, you might have feet that sweat a lot and it gets uncomfortable, and you want to be able to change them out throughout the session of sitting there, or maybe it's snowing, rainy, and you get your feet wet, and it's becoming uncomfortable, and your feet are getting kind of pruny. It's not a lot of weight and not a lot of space to just throw an extra pair of dry socks in there. You'll be really glad you have that if you need it. Another item that I bring is I bring this Otis cleaning kit. And again, this is, I think if you're in the military, I think this was standard issue for a long time in the military, but again, you can see it comes with the solvent you need, it comes with all the different brushes, it comes here's your different brushes, and then in the back here you can see there's different jags, and then you've got your cables back here, almost kind of like a bore snake, right? So let's say you get something in your barrel, let's say something, mud or whatever, something gets in there and you're concerned, you can just run a patch through real quick out in the field. You don't need to go back to the cabin or your car. This is so small and light, it's well worth just throwing it. As you can see, we're not going to carry a ton of crap. We're going to be lucky if we fill this backpack halfway up. So trust me, there's plenty of room to bring things that become pretty valuable if you really need them. It's not going to cause you to stop what you're doing to have to go remedy your rifle situation. You've got it with you, worth bringing for sure. Go check it out. It's Otis, O-T-I-S. They're online. They make tons of kits, big master kits down to these little guys are the way to go for me for hunting, because you can just throw this and it pretty much covers every rifle caliber you would ever think of. So you've got everything you need in here, I think all the way up to 12 gauge. So you're pretty much good to go. Another item that I think is pretty handy to have, and if you notice I don't have binoculars because I'm pretty much, well, I'll tell you why. Basically because of where we hunt in Missouri and because it's so wooded, after I was able to use my rangefinder and spec out a bunch of different distances based on where I could see trails were, I kind of basically looked out as far as I knew I would ever shoot, given how wooded it is. And I was surprised. We're never shooting more than about 65 yards. So the good news for that is, when you're zeroing out at 100 yards on your rifle, pretty much you're pretty much good. You're never really going to go past that distance to have to worry about changing, any holdovers or anything. Your 100 yard is pretty much crosshairs, so that's good. The other thing, it was kind of interesting to sit there while I was, looking around, and just kind of test myself and like look at a tree and try to guess. I wonder how many yards that is, and then I would hit it and see how close I was. So it was able to kind of a way to be able to start training myself to say, okay, that's about 25 yards. Hit and go, oh, okay, I was pretty close, or wow, I was way off. But the more you're able to do that, the better. But I think given that we're not taking 250 yard shots, I'm never really going to use this to actually get a distance on an actual deer. I was more just wanting to see how far out am I ever going to go, and knowing that it was always going to be under 100 yards, there's not going to be a reason to actually hit the deer with this. But again, I think it was a great tool to know my max distance, and it was also a great tool to start helping myself learn yardages better just by a visual, and then using this to confirm where I was at visually. So again, and this is the 1400i Leupold. It's only a couple $100, and again, given where I hunt, I knew I didn't need anything more elaborate than this. So for $200 and to go out as far as this goes is more than I'll ever need. So again, I'm always trying to preach, don't let the money of an item keep you from getting that item. When I thought about it, because these things can get into the, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, right? But when I really sat and thought about it, I knew I wanted one, and I knew that I could get a lesser distance model for less money that was still really good, Leupold. But I knew it was going to meet my needs based on the type of hunting I'm doing. Okay, if I was going to Africa and hunting on the savannah and I was taking these ungodly shots, this becomes really important. But I think for what I'm doing, the amount of money I spent to get the quality I got, and for what it's done for me, perfect. It's perfect. So again, I think you really need to always focus in on what exactly are you doing, where exactly are you hunting, what exactly do you need. Because it's really easy to watch a video and want to mimic what other people are doing. But if you're not, again, like going to Colorado hunting elk for 5 days in the snow, you don't necessarily need to mimic what that person's going to carry, because it's radically different from someone who's hunting like I am on 40 acres, never more than 20 minutes away from the cabin. So it radically changes what you need, and it changes the dollar amount you're going to spend, and it's going to change how heavy the pack is. These are all things you need to keep in mind. I would rather have you spend less money and get this than say the one I want is too expensive. Well, no, maybe the one you want isn't necessarily the one you need, and the one that really suits your needs is within your budget. So really pay attention to that type of stuff. I think it's important, because it's going to keep you from getting stuff, and I'd rather have you have it. Again, in here, I'm going to have my Havalon knife for skinning out a deer. But again, this is stuff in my pack. I'm already going to have like a blade on my side. I'm already going to have a flashlight probably in my pocket, so there's no flashlight in my backpack. Again, this is separate from the stuff I'm already carrying on my body. This is just stuff that's going in my backpack auxiliary, okay? The good thing about this one I got, though, is it's got the normal blade setup. These are the ones that the blades change out really easily. And then this, you can see it comes with different types of blades, including a saw. So I didn't have to carry a separate saw. If you want to make it easier so you don't have to change the blades out, you can also carry a little saw. But this contains both, so I'm good to go with this. Last thing in this pouch is a hand warmer, electric rechargeable hand warmer. So again, last year was 14 degrees out. I was very glad I had these, and so were my cousins, because I brought a bunch of these, or several of them. And well, actually, I think at that time I had 2, but I think now I got like 4 of them. But I was trading them out with my cousins, and they're like, "Oh man, can I borrow that?" My hands were freezing. I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And then we just get back even for lunch, and I plug it back in, recharge it, we're good to go again. But you know, you can turn it on and keep switching hands, keep it in your pocket, and you know, if you're out there and it's, like I said, 14 degrees for us, you know, even with gloves on, sometimes your fingertips are getting a little bit chilly. It's nice, you just hold on to this for a few minutes and get your hands back up to temp, and then turn it back off and put it back in your pack, and you're good to go. So these little electric hand warmers I think they're awesome. And then the last thing I've got in this little front pouch, this is actually a pouch for your sunglasses, which I don't bring. So I actually use it for my power bank. So again, I'll bring a power bank with me so that my hand warmer, my cell phone, my flashlight, all these things are typically rechargeable through some kind of a cord, so I'll have the cords with me as well. But again, having a fully charged power bank, this is Anker, this is a really bitchin' one. Anker to me is the best brand. Never let me down, and they just seem to keep going. But again, if you are having any devices with you that are electric and you're worried about them dying when you're out there, have a power bank. At least you can, it'll get you through the day, and then I just plug this in at night, so by the time I wake up the next morning, it's good to go again, ready to go. And again, that's really it. The only other thing that I would put in here normally is some like trash bags, things like that, so you know, when you do get a deer and you quarter it out, or you know, you've got bags to put it in, things like that. But other than that, that's all I'm really bringing, and I don't think I need much more. I mean, I guess I kind of also go with the philosophy of if I'm out there and I'm really missing something over and over, I'll maybe add it. Or another good way to view it is if you borrow something 3 times, maybe you need to buy it. So I do that. So typically when I'm going, you know, out right now with my relatives, I'm always watching what they're bringing, what they're not bringing, and that really helps guide me on what I should bring and what I don't need to bring. And again, understanding where you're going and what your needs really are is very important, so you don't overbring items that you'll never really use, that you're now just carrying around, spending money on for something that's really just going to sit in your backpack and really serve no purpose for you. So I think it's really, really important to really identify where you're going to go and what is really important to you to bring, that's going to actually be useful and fruitful for you to bring with you. Anyway, that's it. Like I said, pretty simple. Hopefully this has been helpful. Eric, Diversified Outdoors. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video. Take it easy.